Okay, this is example 6 for the presentation on the trigonometry part 3 notes. And in this example they said it's an acute triangle, and that's very important that they tell us that. Otherwise we might try to get the obtuse triangle. What I mean is it's possible to make some changes to this to make it obtuse if possible. So it might be possible. So let's make sure we get acute answers here. But what they want us to find is AC here. That's what they want us to find. That's our goal. So what I'm going to do is write in that's little b. Whoops. Okay. And this will be little a. And this will be little c right there. And so it's going to be tough because in each of the situations I don't have the opposite angle, or I don't have the opposite side. So we need to do a little bit of thinking here. Okay, so some of you might be concerned on this one, so let's write down what we know and we'll see if we can put some numbers in and make it work. Otherwise we might have to think creatively. So I know that this is true. Sine A is to little a as sine B is to little b as sine C is to little c. So let's write what we know. Well, we know this is here, but we don't know this. We know B, and we know C. So no matter what proportion we set up, we're going to run into some problems here because we're always going to have two unknowns. We don't know, so I don't know if I should use these two or if I should use these two, or even if I should use this one and this one. I'm still going to have two unknowns, and I'm still concerned about that. So it may not be that we can do anything with the law of sines here. So let's do some more thinking. So what I might have to do is I may have to drop a height down here. So I dropped the altitude here, and I'm going to call that h. Well, I'll just call it x. Let's do that. We'll call it x. Okay? So if I can figure out x, then I can figure out, if I like, I can figure out this length right here. Excuse me, I made a mistake there. I can figure out this length right here. And once I know that length, then I can figure out this length right here. And once I have x and this length, I can do Pythagorean theorem to get b. So my goal is to... Okay, so we spent a lot of time not getting anywhere, and I wanted to do that on purpose so that you don't give up when you start getting stuck on a problem. So I gave us a strategy. Let's go to it. Let's try to find what x is with regular trig. Well, if I'm using this triangle right here, I'm going to outline it in green. If I'm using this triangle right here, okay, then when I name it, I'll name it in green as well. Here's my angle. So this must be the opposite. Here's the right angle. So here's the hypotenuse. And then this would be the adjacent. So what trig function will get me x? Well, I know the 45. So I need this one here. So I know that that's sine. sine of 36 degrees equals opposite x over hypotenuse, which is 45. Okay? So I cross multiply. Cross multiply that, and I get x. Cross multiply this, and I get 45 sine 36. So I know x equals, if I type that in my calculator here, I get x is 26.45 centimeters. And that's an approximate answer, so if you're using your calculator, try to keep that answer in its memory so you can use it later on. Well, now, if I have a right triangle, I can get this yellow piece that I said I was originally going to go for. That yellow piece I'm going to call y. So I'll use a different color. I'm going to call that, this piece here, y. So I know that x squared plus y squared equals a squared, because that's the hypotenuse. So I'm going to get, so if I do my work, I'm going to get y equals, I skipped a bunch of steps in here. You've done them lots before. Y equals 45 squared minus 26.45 squared. And remember, I kept this in memory, so it's actually 26.45033.635, but I don't want to type all that, so the memory, I'll use the answer button. So I'm going to get y equals the square root of so 45 squared minus the answer squared, which is 26.45. That's the previous answer in all those decimals, which gives me about 1325.4. And again, I kept all the decimals in, so now I'm going to take the square root of that. I'm going to use the answer button. So I did the square root of 1325.379707 without typing all that in. And that gives me y equals 36.41 centimeters. Now that I know what y is, I can figure out, let's make a new variable with a new color. Let's do blue. I'm going to use this, for this distance here, I'm going to use q. Okay? So I know that q equals 52, the whole distance of c. So that's this whole distance here. 52 is this whole distance. That's c. And I'm going to subtract from it what I got for y here. And y was 36.41. So q equals, and now I kept the memory in on it, so 52 minus the answer, and I get 15.59 centimeters. And so now it should be really easy in my, so I'll put that over here. Do one last color change. I'm going to do purple. I know everyone likes purple. So I know that b squared equals x squared plus q squared in this triangle here. So b is the square root. Now we said x was 26.45 squared plus, we know what q is, we just figured it out, 15.59 squared. So when I do the final answer there, Remember, B is AC. That's what we're looking for. I'm going to type all those in. Second square root 26.45 squared plus, now 15.59 was in my memory, so I'm going to go second answer squared, and that gives me 30.704 or 704, so it stays down. We're talking about centimeters. So I'm going to write 30.70 centimeters. And I've solved it. Took me a while. I got stuck trying to use the law of cosines, but now I'm good.